I mean, you could, but then it would be a treated one. Do you want it? The problem with untreated wood is it obviously wood is very porous and it can be quite difficult to keep clean. What I would do personally is I would lightly sand it so that the wood itself is really good. It's clean and finished and right, because then you can wash it. So right. I'm going beyond myself. The first thing I'd do is make sure it was clean. So I would spray it, with just like a kitchen spray, and bring it up. If it is a hardwood like oak or teak, don't use a kitchen spray because it will turn it dark. Use something like vinegar that's mildly acidic to keep the colour in it. That will get any water-based stains, like bits of tea and coffee or sugary stuff, off of it. Let it dry, make sure it's all properly clean. Look at the surface, and is it like an even colour and finish? You can then wax it, and that would be a state of protection. But you have to, obviously, whatever you put on it, any marks will be under it, so they won't be going anywhere. So you have to get it clean first. Once you've got it clean, I would then, like I said, you can wax it. And I would, on something like that, use the appropriate Libron wax, which is something called Black Bison or Bry Wax. And you put it on liberally with like a shoe brush or something. Really work it into the wood, get it in properly, hard, get it even, and then you leave it 24 hours to dry. And then using all the energy you've got, you take a clean dry shoe brush and you buff it up, and it comes up to a lovely mellow gleam. That's the first stage of treatment, just plain wax. And from then after, you can just dust it and occasionally re-wax it, which I think is a lovely finish and gives you a little bit more on it. If you wanted something a little bit more robust, you could use something like Danish oil, and you can buy Danish oil. It's not very expensive. Instructions are on the back, so you'd need some fine wire wool and a couple of rags, and you could just oil the finish, which again would look lovely. It would be a very pleasing finish on it, and that would last a little bit longer than wax. But again, what you're doing is you are finishing your table, and it does depend on the wood as well, what you're doing. I find that things like pine, the old-fashioned pine kitchen table, you can literally, and old housewives did, scrub them. Scrubbing brush, hot soapy water, really scrub them. And over time, the wood grain raises, and they'll go the colour of that wall almost like suede, really soft. And that's a lovely finish, very old finish on it. But obviously, again, you have to scrub your table properly. Hardwoods, they can end up looking really dry and grey. So again, the first step is to clean them. And hot soapy water is fine for this because you're removing things like sugary tea and spills on them. Get them clean, and then you can oil them and just leave the oil to soak in and dry, and they would look lovely. But like I said, it depends. Hardwoods are kind of easier because you can oil them and just leave it and the oil will evaporate off and go. You have to be a little bit more careful with softwoods because the clue is in them, they're soft, they're absorbent. So what you put on them will soak in, and obviously it might not necessarily come out evenly, but yeah. So up to you what you want with it. But doesn't have to be a great deal of work. I mean, you could sort that out in the course of a few hours on a Saturday morning. The only thing is you've got to make sure that you're not putting things on it for a while afterwards.